Good morning, Bryte Church, and welcome to another devotional. I wanted to read today from three passages again, Matthew 5, Matthew 23, and Isaiah 5. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Matthew 23:27. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which on the outside appear beautiful, but inside they are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanliness. And Isaiah 5:24. Therefore, as the tongue of fire devours the stubble, and as dry grass sinks down in the flame, so their root will be as rottenness, this idea of decomposition, and their blossom go up like dust. For they have rejected the law of the Lord of hosts, and have despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Now we come to this idea of punishers versus peacemakers. In the Beatitudes, Jesus praised those who consciously bring about peace into the world, a world which knows no peace. In the Maledetudes, hypocrisy and lawlessness, they oppose God's nature. Peace is God's nature, and the opposition of it is opposition to peace. And that sounds like a weird dichotomy, a weird comparison, but in Isaiah, the root of that rottenness is revealed. The root is that the people reject the law and the word of God. And the rejection is not in ignorance, as we studied last time. It is not in ignorance, but it is the expressed desire to reject what God is commanding. And you will look at yourself and you'll say, that is not me. But if we go back to the context of who Jesus is speaking with, we'll see that this text, Isaiah and Matthew 5 and Matthew 23, it's not spoken to the irreligious. It's spoken to the very religious, who would have not only called themselves faithful, but by others would have been called faithful, good men. And despite feeling and appearing and declaring themselves righteous, at the core was death and uncleanliness, represented by the bones in the tomb. In this confusing language, it might be even difficult for us to make a claim as to what we're supposed to do, like what now? And that's why I think it's important to view these passages as interrelated, as self-references back to each other. And the reference here is clear. The way of Jesus is the way of a peacemaker, a creator of peace, not a doormat, but one who manufactures, who creates, who brings peace out of nothing. And at its core, the gospel message is one of peacemaking. It is the peacemaking between a holy and righteous God and sin. And you might think, how does sin and holiness make peace? Very easily, sin is destroyed. Sin is put to death. The way that peace was made was not by overlooking sin, but by judging and punishing and killing sin, killing death. Jesus' entire journey on earth was that of a peacemaker. An accusation towards the Pharisees of hypocrisy was despite the fact that they appeared holiness. Despite the fact that they appeared as people who were trying to reconcile the rest of the masses with the law of God. That was the call to God, right? That was the call to the priests. That was the call to the religious leaders. Reconcile the people to me through the law that I gave you. And they appeared to be doing that. They were teaching the law. They were studying the law. They were doing everything in obedience to the law. And the road to hell is paved with good intentions seems like an ironically appropriate passage for this text. It was willful rejection of the law that condemned the Pharisees, not their obedience, not their reconciliation. Look at not what you intend to do, but what you actually do. What is the result of the actions that you take in your life, in your day-to-day interactions? Do you leave behind peace or do you leave destruction? Don't look at what you intended to do, though. Because when we intend to do something, our vision of what actually happened is colored. But look at actually what happened. If in retrospect your life has left behind a trail of destruction despite your good intentions, then we can look to the intentions and the good intentions of the Pharisees and evaluate what lies at my core. Is it a heart of a peacemaker, or is it dead men's bones? Is it rottenness to the root, as Isaiah says it? Are you one who makes peace and is called a son of God? And if you only notice hurt in the midst of your interactions, then chances are you are not a peacemaker. And you are not a son of God. And the call that you should make, because there are small places where we sow the seeds of destruction. Even in those places, call out to God that he would change your life. Not to be one of contention, but to be one of peace. That God might change your heart and the direction of your life, that it might always be properly oriented towards him. God bless and take care.